We have a saying at Inktel that nothing happens until somebody sells something. My next guest is the pride of Catskill. The man, the myth, the legend, the guy who can sell ice to Eskimos. Mr. Jason Schlenker, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, Dan. Appreciate it. Been looking forward to this one.
It's exciting. We may break the internet today. This is the first podcast of 2025.
All right, we're off to a good start
And
already.
we're going to talk about our favorite subject, which is sales. Quickly, how long have you been in sales? And how did you get into sales?
Man, good question. I've pretty much been in sales my entire life. I mean, just growing up, there's always been a persuasiveness about something that you wanted to get done in my household, growing up with 4 brothers in there too. So it kind of came natural to me, but through high school and college, being a waiter, bartender, pretty much always been in sales.
Yeah, you were always flexing that muscles. I'm one of 5 kids. I don't know if you know that, just like you. And sales is a big because you're always debating, compromising in some way, trying
Absolutely.
to survive half the time.
Absolutely. And most people don't realize that a lot of people are in sales indirectly, whether you're doing client services, whether you're doing anything in life in there too. It's all about persuasiveness and getting people behind you to follow your vision and to kind of help you achieve.
Yeah, man. I mean, to sell is to be human, right?
Yeah.
And it's part. And I tell this people all the time is like whether you're the CFO of the company or the head of ops, whatever, you're selling ideas. You're trying to persuade folks to see it a certain way or what have you, and you're presenting information. And if you don't have that, or not, at least like I use that term, flexing that muscle once in a while, you lose it. And you always got to be doing it. To go take a step back, I mean, do you think salespeople, like, are they born? Are they made? Like, how do you become a salesperson?
Yeah. It's the way we see it, and certainly in our department over there too, you either build them or buy them, right?
Mm-hmm.
There are some super successful salespeople out there that just been doing it a very, very long time. To get them to come over to an organization, it's usually very expensive.
Yeah.
They're generally doing really, really well in their situation in there too. The company's taking really good care of them. So to get them to pick up and pivot and leave, it's going to be costly in there too. The other way to do it is to build them. And so through client services, like myself, I started in client services at Inktel 26 years ago in there too. And that's a great stomping ground for learning how to sell, right? You're managing clients, you're solving problems for clients, you're working in collaboration with different departments, different people on the client side in there too. So that really set me up for success in sales in there too, really understanding what's going to make a program successful, what clients are really looking to buy, really matching a need with the services that we perform in there too, and then just getting everybody to turn their key in that.
Young salespeople, guy, gal, comes into your office, like, what are you looking for? Like, what are the bones of that person? What do they got to have? Is it a firm handshake or is it the way they dress? Like, what is it?
No, I think they got to just be ready to work, really come prepared with a lot of, with a great attitude, great passion, be flexible, be adaptable, but really somebody that has a process behind their sales plan is the one who's going to be successful, right? It's, you got to make kind of like data-driven decisions in there too, by knowing how many phone calls do I need to make to open an opportunity? How many opportunities do I need to get to a proposal stage? What happens beyond proposal stage in there too? How do I get people to come do a site visit? Do I go see them first? Do they come to me in there too? If you have that process down, it becomes a numbers game. And then you could kind of reverse engineer into the number of opportunities you need to get to the number of contracts that you're going to hit your sales goal for the year.
It's funny. It's such a missed opportunity at the college level that they don't have sales majors.
True.
I mean, very few schools have it still to this day. And I'm like, ask any business owner, what literally sales, nothing happens until you have a product or a service that people are willing to pay and buy. And then you need someone to go and sell this. You know what I mean?
They absolutely should teach the economics of it, the salesmanship of it in college in there too. It's general business administration that they push on there too, but it's nothing to do with sales.
Yeah.
They're missing big opportunity.
They're missing big opportunity. And then what happens is these young people come to the marketplace, and whoever leans into sales jobs, it's always the funny guy, the guy that was the frat president, whatever. And those bones of that person are great because they're engaging. They're usually likable, but they don't have the training. We've interviewed and unfortunately let go of lots of salespeople who had that, and that's tough to train. But then the other stuff, right? Yeah. The math of it. What's the sales funnel look like? How many calls you got to make to order to close the door? What are you selling the appointment? Or are you selling the whatever value versus price? All these little things, and they man, they just don't teach it in school. It's crazy.
No, they don't. And that's where good leadership comes in there too, where you're constantly helping your team along in there too, being very transparent about it, making sure that they got thick skin, right? And they can overcome adversity, right? And have good days and bad days, pick themselves up, be ready to reset the clock come January 1st, right?
Yeah.
It goes back to zero in there too. So it's a tough game, but it could be super rewarding in there too. When you build a good sales team, you got really good people at the top of the funnel who can open deals for you, but then you got really good solution architects that can really put together kind of what that solution is going to look like, so the end buyer can kind of envision what those outcomes are going to be, and then you got to close. At the end of the day, so if you put together all those little pieces in there too, it's just a step-by-step process in there too. But you can start to see it get closer and closer and closer, and then you just got to put it across the finish line.
As a sales leader, you're sometimes a shrink, right?
Yeah.
Where it is a tough job. You get the door slammed on you time in and time out.
Yeah.
How do you pick up somebody that, like, man, they're working hard, they got the process down, but man, the brakes don't.
Sure.
They're the Buffalo Bills, right?
Yeah,
They got to the Super Bowl 4 times, but man, this
There's
happened, whatever. What happened? How do you do that, man?
Yeah, there's a little bit of voodoo and magic in what we do in there too. But look, if you continue to build out a very robust pipeline, right? You can't let one deal that gets sideways get you down, right? You got to have 4, 5, 6, 10 behind it. You just say, you know what? I'm going to dust myself off. I'm going to start looking at this deal over there too. And look, the more opportunities that you get to those stages, call it north of 50% to close in there too, the higher likelihood that you're going to get 2, 3, 4, 5 across the board. And then if you're targeting the right prospects in there too, you only need 1, 2 in our industry, 1, 2, 3 deals a year to really make your year in there too. We're selling very highly complex solutions in there too, but they're multi-year deals in there too, and they got big numbers behind them.
Big debate, is cold calling dead?
I would say absolutely not.
Why?
Absolutely not. One, it's the only way to open opportunities in there too, right? You can get some introductions in there too, but I think cold calling is one thing, but I think if you just have a structure for targeting the right prospects that you're looking for, there really is no such thing as cold calling anymore, right?
Correct.
You still have to make the phone calls in there too, but if you do your homework on the potential buyers that are looking at your solutions over there too, there's so many different tools now. LinkedIn's just by far the best still out there. Zoom Info are really good in there too, where you can really get a target list of somebody who's going to look to purchase something in your field.
Okay, what's easier? Running a sales department or herding cats?
Yeah. There's a method to both madnesses in there too. Look, I like running a sales department in there too. We don't have a massive department by any means, but we've got some characters and some personalities with different skill sets, which I like in there too. I got super disciplined people that are in there too. Then I got some people that are just like the life of the party in there too. That can really set you up for success in there too. And when you kind of gather everybody together, we can kind of help each other out and kind of round out some of those rough edges that we've got on the team.
What do you do when you have that sales guy who, to go back a second, busting their butt, they're working hard, but you got to hit the numbers.
Yeah.
And that next big deal is right around the corner, boss. Don't worry, we're at the 5-yard line. Well, we've been at the 5-yard line for a couple of quarters now.
Sure.
What do you do with that person?
Those are tough.
How do you coach that person?
Those are tough conversations to have in there too. And that's where you have to set very, very clear, specific goals for each person and yourself on the sales department. And then you measure those goals constantly in there, right? And so if you truly do have a vision that you're going to set realistic goals in there too, and you truly have a process behind it, you can track pretty much every metric behind it. If you're doing the work in there too, I'm going to work side by side with you in there too. But you can't cheat in sales, right? So
correct.
You're taking day off today, it's going to catch up to you tomorrow in there too. You have to be honest and transparent with your numbers, and you got to put in the work. So it's in our world, it's pretty easy for me to tell the people that are doing the work and the people that are not. And so if they're not just putting in the effort in there too, then we're just gonna have a tough conversation where there's a better fit for them somewhere else.
Man, when do you jump in where you see this guy needs a lifeline? I kind of got to take over here. Like, when do you do that? Is it a judgment call? Like, when do you see some of those sort of pitfalls?
This is where I appreciate when our team's just honest and just say, hey, I'm stuck here. And that's where we just get together and we start looking at different ways to solution that deal. Why is it stuck? Who are the decision makers in there too? That's one of the things that has changed over the years quite a bit. There's so many more decision makers in the sales process that they all have to agree. They all have to turn their key in there too. That's changed a lot over the years. So it used to be 1, 2, maybe 3 people in there. It used to be easier to get everybody in one room when people were like in an office in there too. And you could really get people to make a decision pretty quickly in there too. But now the sales cycle has gone a lot longer, and there's just a lot more decision makers in there too. So when I see deals getting sideways, that's where I dig in, right? And I proactively step in there too to see where we are on these things. And then we talk about it. We talk about a different way to approach it in there too. And then you get on with the decision makers on the other side, and you see what might be holding them up. There could be something on their side. They got a budget situation on their side. They got other people that are just not ready to move forward in there too. So you have to start kind of breaking down where those, next steps are, and really just making sure that you're just kind of one by one, putting one foot in front of the other one and moving the deal forward. Otherwise, rest the deal, just sit on it a little bit, rest the deal, come back to it, circle back. I try and encourage everybody, don't get too emotionally involved in deals because those will hurt. Those will catch up on you too. And they can set you back, right? So you got to that's why you got to have a good, robust pipeline. So you can shake it off, move on to the next one, close it, 100%. Move on.
And I mean, look, we've been doing this a long time. How many deals have we lost and then they come back?
Oh man, those are the fun ones. Those are my favorite ones. When you take, 2,
the
3,
grave
4
digger.
swings.
They come back, man.
Exactly.
You thought it was dead.
They come back, and maybe there's been different people on that side that are ready to make a decision in your favor in there too. Look, we've gone into certain opportunities knowing full well we won't get this. We're going to respond to an RFP. It's positioned somewhere else. They're likely not going to move, but we'll do it to learn about the organization, see what the buying process is going to look like, who are the decision makers on that side, and we'll get another crack at it in there too. If they're a good fit for us, we stay on them.
We stay on them, and dude, it's just there's something that they feel comfortable. We've talked about this. How important your reputation is,
Absolutely.
Not just the organization, the company, of course, but the sales rep, the actual guy calling on that account. Your reputation, right?
Absolutely. That's key. So that's why you can't burn people in this industry. It's just not big enough in there too. If you get that reputation in there too, it's going to set you back big time in there too. And this is where you need to, when you have a good reputation, you can call on a friend to say, hey, can you make a connection over there? Or can you do me a solid on there too? Make a phone call for me on that side. That's helped me a lot in there too. So we've had several allies that have helped us push deals across the finish line.
Reciprocity is super important.
Yeah.
You're great at it. One of the things that we've been very successful is, honestly, and it comes from a sincere place where a former client loses a job. We literally call them immediately and say, how can I help?
Yeah.
Where can I place you? Where can I make a couple intros? Like whatever. And it seems to me just so many salespeople, because it's all about them. They get the commission breath.
Yep.
They get selfish. And no, you're missing out on this wonderful opportunity.
Always look to do somebody a favor in there too, particularly if somebody gets sideways at a company, they're looking to change jobs in there to help them out. Even if you can't help them find a job, just the effort that you're going to go through to steer their resume around, especially if they're good people. You want to put a good person in a good situation there too, whether it's going to help you or not. But you help somebody get a job, man, they're going to be loyal to you. They're going to be loyal to you for a very long time in there, and they don't forget that.
They don't forget that. So many gatekeepers now, right? Mm-hmm. And technology is a big part. Man, how do you get around some of these gatekeepers?
Yeah. You go for the top. So I try and encourage myself and our guys on our team, go for the top and let them push you down a little bit, as opposed to working your way from the bottom up there. And by bottom, you mean people that can really make the decision in there too, where you can get to somebody at the C-suite level that says, hey, this is interesting. I've heard about you guys. Yes, we do have a current partner. We got an in-house operation in there too, but I am looking at possibly making a change. Then you let them kind of steer you around there too. And look, it just takes persistence. So I find it trying to get mind share from somebody in a very meaningful way. So not just the check-in in there too. So it's everything from reading Yahoo Finance to reading their earnings report, reading their 10K in there, pulling out a simple line item or two that shows you did the homework in there too, and that you're invested in that opportunity in there too. That's worked out really, really well for us. When we do the homework in there too, it gets rewarded.
The value. If you bring value to someone, 10 times the value they bring you, it will pay off.
Absolutely.
You're right.
Absolutely.
The table stakes is check in, drop you a note every once in a while. Hey man, what's up? Whatever. Where are we at with this RFP? Okay, great. A lot of people. But the fact that, hey man, one time you mentioned this thing. Here's an article. And by the way, not only did I read the article, here's the 2 or 3 bullet points you need to know about. Or, one time you mentioned X, Y, and Z. I got a friend that's at this agency, they might be a really good partner for you, whatever. You sell a lot through partnerships and partnership channels. Talk to me about your process for what we call our 5-star partners.
Yeah. It's a good one, right? So 5-star partnerships are anything from a technology partnership to staffing agencies out there, just overall influencers in our industry that can help you connect the dot in there too. And with that goes to the reciprocity, right? So you have to always be looking out for ways to do them favors in there too, so it kind of comes full circle in there. But if you could come to an opportunity with a fully baked solution in there too, because even if you have to bring in some outside services in there too, it's going to make this complex decision-making process and this complex sale look that much easier for
Right.
the client to make a decision in there too. So we're always looking to lean on some outside support in there too, where these other people can bring their expertise to the deal and really just bring the solution, full circle and allow you the best probability of winning it.
Are trade shows dead?
Man, they're tough. I tell you, we've been doing this for so long, and we still do several each year in each vertical in there too. I don't think they're dead, but I don't think you can go there looking to get a close. I think it's relationship building in there too. They're great hunting grounds for employees and influences in there too. And what we'll look to do is we'll attend the ones, particularly where our clients are going, right? Not just prospects, but it gives you good face time with clients in there too. They can help you connect the dot in there too. And a key to a trade show is doing your homework ahead of time prior to the show, and then certainly after the trade show. During the trade show, things are busy in there too. People have their dance card pretty well full in there too. But if you can set up some dinners while you're there, they can go a long way. So we track and we rate every trade show we do, and then we put notes against it to see who we connected with, what are next steps in there too. So that way we can show some degree of an ROI when we have to go to the CFO and ask for money to send these shows. They're not inexpensive. They're very time consuming. So you do need to make wise decisions about which ones you go after because they're not cheap.
They're not cheap. And I think you hit the nail on the head is the homework up front.
Yeah.
If you do the homework up front, they will pay off. If you don't, and you think you're just going to hand out business cards and get deals, that's tough.
Those days are gone.
Those days are gone.
Although we had luck that one time at an old DMA show many years ago.
They're still our client.
Still a client to the day. And hey, that was the end of the day. And we made an introduction to somebody, and look at that. It turned into a really nice win.
Give me one or two case studies of just wacky sales that you've closed or unique things that you did that you were, man, like, I don't know how we got this deal, but we got creative, or we did this or we did that.
Oh,
you have one that comes to mind?
Boy, I mean, there's been so many
the one you
crazy-
just said was pretty funny.
Yeah, that was a good one in there too, and that was a fun one. We were out in Vegas too, right? So that one worked out. Really
we
well.
rigged the contest so that the prospect would win,
Exactly,
and then we went out with the prospect.
Yeah,
and
guess
20
what?
years later, they're still our client.
You won the tickets to Cirque du Soleil. I did.
Yeah, and we went to Cirque du Soleil with the client.
Did. Let's go. But you got to go with us in there too. That certainly helped close the deal. Well, there's one of many years ago that I remember the person was coming to town to basically just put their stamp on it. We got all the way to the finish line in there too. So they came. It was back in our old office in Miami Lakes, and it was just me. Like, I think everybody else was out of town or something like that. So I was pretty nervous about it. The guy comes in, he sits down, he talks us through. He's still a friend to the day in there too. We walk him through the call center, walk him through the organization. He goes, this looks good. And he goes, let's go to dinner. I'm like, all right, great. Let's go to dinner at this point. Just him and I. We go to Prime 112 when it just opened on Miami Beach. And so he's like, hey, how generous do you think Inktel's feeling today? I'm like, what are we doing here? And he goes, well, I'd like to order a bottle of wine. And I'm like, okay, man.
Don't kill me here, bro.
I said, don't kill me here. And I was like, but by the way, do we have the deal? And he goes, yeah, you guys got the deal. I'm like, okay, fire away. Well, still to the day, like everybody still brings it up in there. That $130 bottle of wine, maybe it was a little bit more, but that one still comes up. So it was kind of like a wacky little story to get.
But that guy's been our client 2 or 3 times.
Absolutely, yes.
And he's given us a lot of referrals, and he's been a good friend. He's not even a client at this point.
He just moved to Naples, really good guy.
Yeah, he's a good dude.
And we're looking to get together actually shortly here too. He's in a really good position here too. We can help him. He can help us out in there too. So that bottle of Trilogy for Flora Springs, man, still comes up in there too. But those are the fun ones. Sales is fun, right? When you get those wins, it's very rewarding. And when you can put together a win and all of a sudden you see the organization grow, all of a sudden you're hiring 50, 100, 200 more people in the organization, leadership positions, and people are getting promoted, it becomes really, really rewarding.
Correct.
When you do knock those down.
It's the journey that you should enjoy.
Yeah,
you're going to get commissions on the back end and put the big win on the board and win President's Club, whatever. But it's the person that you become when it's closed and that program is up and implemented, and then you can reflect. In this case, that guy, I don't know, 15, 20 years ago, he's still a friend. Like, you look back and you're like, oh my God, like that, all that homework, all that hard work. And here we are today. We're sharing a great bottle of wine in Naples probably in a couple weeks.
Yep.
Those are definitely the special moments. All right. One last question, and then we've got a fun little game.
Cool.
If you can go back in time and talk to your younger self, younger Jason, the sales guy. So you can go to 22-year-old Jason, the sales guy.
Oh,
what advice would you give Jason?
Yeah. Oh man, that's a good one. Quite a few different things in there too. I think I would take my career a little bit more serious and my studies a little bit more serious back then. I kind of went through college and went through the motions in there too, got the grades just to get out of there. But I didn't take advantage of those opportunities in there too, really to kind of learn in there too. So I think I would certainly give myself that advice in there too. And then just mentorships. I think I stumbled upon that a little bit later in life in there too, where really, man, just find opportunities for somebody to mentor you along the way. Like study the best of everything in there too, and just take those life lessons. And that applies to anything. Like I'm a big fan of skiing, but living in Miami, I don't get out and ski much. But I love skiing with people who are better than me, people that know the mountain in there too. And literally, it's just a life lesson. I just follow them, and I do every move and the carving that they can do on there too. I think that would be my big one too. In a career atmosphere, like surround yourself with like really, really smart people that are much more successful than you, much richer than you in there too, and follow their lead in there too. They're going to give you the answers to the test. Yeah,
the proximity is power.
Absolutely,
you're the average of the 5 people you hang out with. Totally buy into it. All right. 2025, we are live streaming this show. Okay. So on Twitter X and on YouTube, and fans of the show are tweeting in questions for Jason. So you ready?
Yeah, let's go.
All right, this one comes from Tony in Catskill. Is it okay to put pineapple on your pizza?
Absolutely not. Yeah. Even my wife still eats it, but not a fan of it. Don't put pineapple on your pizza.
All right. Ricky from Miami Beach, best movie about sales.
Oh, man. Best movie about sales. Glenn Ross.
Yeah, it's a great one.
It's just such a classic, man. And for those salespeople that have not watched Glenn Ross, man, watch it today. It's
highly recommended. All right.
Absolutely.
Dave from Connecticut. Should you cap commissions on salespeople?
Absolutely not. No, absolutely not. Set very high expectations for yourself, for them on there too, and let them rip, man. I mean, if they're hitting commissions, it means the company's doing well. Absolutely don't cap it.
All right. Lewis from West Palm Beach. Is it okay to tip flight attendants?
I've done it. Yes, absolutely. A tip for anybody that has gone above and beyond and just made a situation better, I am all for it.
All right. Dave from Boca. Best kind of restaurant to take a client out for dinner?
Oh, boy, a fun one. All right. So food is important in there too, but you want a good ambiance. You want good energy, not too loud in there too, but something that just keeps very upbeat and keeps everybody kind of in a positive vibe in there too.
Yeah. The loud one, I've made that mistake before. I'm like,
don't do the loud one. Don't do the super quiet one.
Don't do the super quiet one. Right.
Don't give your client your prospect the best seat.
That is true.
You want to take the better seat, so their focus
is
on
wine.
You in there too. You order the wine, right? So you avoid the very expensive ones in there too. But in Miami, we've got so many choices down here for good restaurants.
Yeah, it's great. All right. Frank from Hialeah. What is the right amount of cologne to spray on? How many sprays?
I know there's some people out there that argue with me on this side, but I go on the lighter side. I would do 3 sprays in the 3 sprays.
On the chest, on the hands. Where are these sprays going?
Yeah, on the neck and the chest area is what I go for.
All right, we have a guy here at the office that says 24 is the approximate.
He smells like $1 million too. I know that guy.
He smells
man.
great. You can smell him a mile away. All right, Sal from Philly. Howard Stern or Joe Rogan?
Today or 20 years ago?
Today,
Joe Rogan. 100%. Huge Howard Stern fan, growing up in New York. I've listened to him for the past 30 plus years in there too, but I just don't see eye to eye with him anymore.
Okay.
Too. I'll tune in for the interviews, but the antics, I'm kind of over.
I'm kind of over. All right. And one last one, Frank from Rye, New York. Is it okay to nap?
Napping's great. Henry Kissinger, man. He was a big napper. Absolutely. Good 20-minute power nap. When we do trade shows and things like that, my wife, it drives her nuts in there too, but I can sit down and I could do a power nap at 20 minutes and pop right back up.
Well, you know the rules of the trade show, right?
Yeah.
You just have to post.
You got to post.
That's our rule for on the road.
Yeah. No matter how late you go out, you got to post in the morning.
There you go. Where can people find out about you?
LinkedIn. Best place to go.
Yeah, you're active on LinkedIn. Guys, Jason's been with us for 26 years. Superstar sales guy. Great tips on sales. Definitely follow him on LinkedIn and reach out if you have any questions. He's an all-star. But that was fun. Thanks for coming on the show.
A lot of fun. Awesome. Let's have a big year.
Yeah.